All right, what's up, everybody? Happy Thursday, February 9th, 2023. Let's jump right in here. We're looking at ES, like always. We're looking at the daily view. Now, one thing I want to point out is we finally got the drop. Now, this drop is something that I've been waiting for a couple days. You know, we had a little bit of a consolidation. There's a little ways to go, in my opinion, before we get the next leg up, but we'll jump into that and show what I'm expecting. But everything's going pretty well, actually, as far as, you know, what I've been predicting here. So a couple things I want to show because I think they're interesting, and I think this is going to work out. I didn't prep, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be true. Sorry, that was gave away the last thing. Okay, couple things. Fib, right? We got our golden fib. We've talked about that a couple times before. If you're interested, please let me know in the comments or in Discord, and I can talk to you about that golden fib. Got it from a different video. The video is posted in Discord. I'll share the link if anyone's interested. But I think it's pretty cool to see. So this was last Thursday, and then last Friday, obviously we got a good drop down. We had another drop down Monday, and then we recovered on Tuesday, and we recovered right into that golden zone. Now, that recovery to the peak, that's where we went Wednesday, right? So it's really been following this consolidation pattern until today. And today we made our way, oops, sorry about that. You see how it came right back into that golden zone on Wednesday? Pretty cool. Today, we made our way towards what I drew up earlier, and actually we came into it. The golden zone for retracement from this big push up here. Now, it didn't actually go into the PD array I was looking for. We'll drop down into a 4-hour to get to that. But it did come into a PD array and out of a PD array. That's within this candle. But the thing I was looking for is this 4-hour gap here. And I've shown this a couple times. You know, I don't know if it's gonna get there, but if I were to look at this 4-hour picture and say, where do I feel like it'll go to before the next leg up? I think this pool liquidity, even though we took it here, I mean, why not take that low again before going up, right? So I feel like we still have a day, maybe. I mean, it should be able to do it in a day. You know, today we had a lot of upward movement in the morning and then a big push down, right? So take that push down and take out the upward movement, and we would have probably gotten that, right? So I would expect a little bit of a push up. I don't know how much, but I think it wouldn't go more than the gap, the weekly opening gap, to get to this 4-hour gap or this 4-hour gap. You know, another thing to look out for is the CE of this wick, which would be in that second 4-hour gap. Let's go to just the CE only. That would be right in here, in that second 4-hour gap. So that's still where my eyes are going, after this happened on Thursday and Friday last week. I wasn't expecting as big of a push up from the Fed speech the other day, but obviously it happened. So we got a push up, and it just happened like I showed. It just happened to go. Get the golden back in there, back into that golden zone. So makes sense, right? Into these consolidation. These consolidation waves. Tightened, dropped, right? So some cool stuff to see here. On the 4-hour, we broke this low with displacement and a gap, right? So coming back up into that gap is a possibility for sure. I think the 1-hour actually had a very similar situation as well. Yes, it did. We have a gap here, as you can see. Broke that swing low with that gap. So that could be a target. If we get really crazy with the pullback, you want to do the golden fib once again. Now, what do you see with this golden fib, right? Right off the bat, what I would see is this wick, right? So there's no gap here, but there is this big wick, and you can treat wicks sort of like you treat gaps. So that is a consideration if you think that we'll get some more upside before going back down. I don't know, though. I don't know if we'll get that much of an upside because we broke so hard today. I think it's on its way down here to at least this gap, and possibly the second gap to finish that golden zone retracement before what I think would be the push up over here into February, beginning of March. I'm trying to look at the calendar. If we look at the weekly, maybe that'll be easier to spot out, right? So if you talk about the weekly, we look here, we're down into let's pull the golden out again. There's that gap. That second gap is in the golden of the weekly. So then where could we go, right? Do you think we could get above this in a 2-week period? If we do finish this move down this week, do you think we could get up and over this strongly by 2 weeks? Yeah, I think it's possible. Yeah, we're in a pretty strong bull trend on the weekly. Monthly, it's hard to really tell, but we did break above this swing high, right? So just some stuff to think about, keep your eye on. Obviously, trading intraday, you want to just have this in your mind as a possibility, right? And that's the key thing, but you still need to put it together in a daily kind of format and figure out what the day is gonna do to be successful trading intraday. Or you can trade longer term, it's possible too. I'm trying to do intraday, close everything out because I'm going with the prop firm, so I can't hold. But yeah, it depends on your style. The daily type of trends, I'm doing really well on, feeling really confident, feeling really good. Still not getting the daily down as much as I like. But let's look at today just a little bit. Obviously, we had a huge sell-off, right? 15 minutes, very clear, right? One thing I do want to draw up real quick. Sorry for flipping back and forth on this. I want to draw up the weekly gap, because this is something, you know, ICT has been talking about a lot, and we've flirted around it a lot this week. This is the weekly opening gap. We'll want to do the CE of that as well. And we'll switch back to the 15. Now you see how it has gone in, come back, and then London traded back through it again, and then we got a very decisive smash through. Is this the correct gap, right? Friday, Sunday, yep, that's it. That's it. Got a pretty decisive smash through, right? Another gap I had an eye on was this 1 hour gap. Pretty significant one, right? 1 hour. And do the CE of that as well. Okay. You see that we tapped it there. Actually came down. And I had that pretty well figured out today. Once we broke through here, it came back up and started another sell-off. This was lunch, I believe. Yeah, this was through lunch. I'll go into a smaller time frame real quick here in a second, but once I started doing this, you know, I knew bottom of gap was probably going to be the end of it and pull back to the CE, which it pretty much did. There was a 15-minute gap as well, and I think that might have lined up a little better. It's very tough when there's multiple gaps like this, but try to draw them all out. And I know it can get pretty busy, but you'll see how different levels play around a little differently, right? Remember, on TradingView, if you hold control, it will snap to the wicks and stuff. That's how I'm drawing these out so quick. So yeah, you see how we have a couple CEs, and it's actually lying right at this level, which if we go back, what is at that level? Let's check the 5-minute. I want to say there's something there, but I might be wrong. See how there's another gap inside that as well. Let's go ahead and put the... hold on one sec, guys. Sorry. Guys and gals. Let's put the CE on that as well. And drag that over a little bit. I'm going to go back to the 15-minute to drag it over. Okay. Lots of crap, right? So yeah, I mean, this level, I think I'm missing something here, but yeah, the main thing I looked out for today was that 1 hour gap, the 15-minute gap. I don't know. I'm not an expert, right? But I don't know which one is the best one to look at, but I thought the 1 hour was pretty good, because it seems to have been reacting off of it pretty often. So yeah, let's check the 4 hour just in case. Doesn't look like we have anything there. I mean, these tops are really the only thing I could really think of here. Go on the daily, let's see if there's anything there. I mean, you could try to say the CE of this wick, but nah, I think we just go with the 1 hour gap there and call it a day there. All right, so jump into a smaller time frame here, and we can see sort of how this played out a little bit. What I want to look at is the 9:30 open. So I played this a little wrong, and I'll tell you why. So what I was expecting was a little push up before a downward movement for the morning. The reason being is we moved up quite a bit in London. Pre-market had, you know, a little push up to start out, right, at 8:30. Have a little bit of consolidation, I guess. 8:30 took out a lot of that. Created some swing highs here. Sorry, a swing high there. 9:30, if we go down to the minute, you can see it even better. And just sort of analyze where I went wrong on the idea here. So what I really wanted was a break of these highs here, right? So draw that out. Now, looking back, was that ambitious? I don't know. Let's see, how many handles was it? So when we opened 9:30, we were at 4163. I mean, it was only 7 handles. That's not much. I mean, we usually get some pretty good energy out of 9:30. So for it to just dip over this, now, yeah, that's some liquidity, sure. But I don't know. I really thought this flat top area, you know, equal highs are usually something you want to look out for as a target. So really thought I was going to reach for that. So when it didn't, I was sort of sitting on my hands a little bit thinking, oh, okay, it's still going to come. Thinking, it went for sell side first. That's strange, right? But it didn't. It did go for buy side first. Just not what I was expecting. So, you know, live and learn. Write down how it played out and how you're feeling and all that stuff. We had a lot of choppy action once again in the morning, and then we got this big drop off. And to be honest, there's a little bit of setup, sure, but it was tough. It was tough stuff. I did not get in it correctly. Yeah, what the chop action throws me out a lot of times because yeah, I just don't want to go in, especially when it's already chopped into that gap. I just feel like it's not really respecting that, even though it in the end it did, and we did have the draw to this weekly gap. Was able to get in a couple scalps. The day was, yeah, you know, just not putting it all together when we're live yet. So, but I feel great about how the movement went. This was probably my biggest failure of the day right here. Let me just go into this real quick. This volume imbalance, okay? So when price did finally drop down heavily, we obviously had to drop down here, but, you know, hit CE and made a little choppy upward movement. But when we made the drop down again through the gap and then came back to the CE, even before we came back to the CE, let's put the imbalance on there. I saw that imbalance and thought, okay, if it respects that imbalance, then I'll go in for a short there. Ended up not going in on a short there. I actually played it really wrong. I played it really wrong. I didn't think it was going to get up there. So, you know, another situation where my actions didn't follow what my head was thinking. So, hopefully you guys can watch this and hopefully maybe learn some lessons from it. The imbalance there, respecting that with the bodies, that's really what you want to look out for. And especially when you see the bodies respecting the CE there, I mean, that's a really great sign that there is more downside to come. Now, obviously, the downside was minimal at first. We really got into like a pre-lunch macro here. And then once lunch was coming, I thought it was going to go for highs. And highs meaning just one high. I thought it was going to go for this swing high. So that's what I was looking for. And I failed to see there's a swing high right here, 1119. So it did go for the last swing high. If you look at when lunch hit, you can say this swing high, but I don't know. This is all sort of one consolidation period. I didn't take that as the swing high I was going for. I took this as the swing high I was going for. But it grabbed that one and it aggressively sold off again while still at lunch. So I was able to catch this a little bit on the tail end here when it created this order block. I caught the last little push down. But pretty interesting stuff. The macros seem to be correct. And then obviously, as you see, we came to this 1 hour gap and didn't show it too much respect, huh? Got all the way through, came back up. This was a beautiful setup as well, to come back up into the CE. You see this gap. That's the gap that I played. And I made a slight mistake. I accidentally went in on a long with 5 contracts right when it came back into this gap. So when it did this shoot down, it actually killed my account, my Top Step account. So because I had 5 contracts on and I was only wanting to do one. I've only ever done 1 contract. So I saw this thing move and it was just chunking my account, and I didn't know what happened until it already killed it. So live and learn again. Price I pay for not paying attention. It's all right. The move actually went the way I thought it would, so it was a pretty beautiful setup. You would only play it back to the CE, I think. You can play it down here if you're super duper confident that it will get to the CE, that this is all it was going for. But, some confirmation is always good. This little volume imbalance here could also be something you play. Sorry, I know I'm making this even longer than I was expecting to make it like pretty much always. But you see there, the problem with the volume imbalances is they don't always work out, right? So you really want to wait, like this volume imbalance, right? It doesn't really respect it at all. So you really want to wait and make sure that it respects it. So when we come back through it and then come down and these bodies respect it, you can sort of use that as like a resistance or support or whatever. I guess it would be a support in this case since we went through. So no respect coming up. That's a good sign that we're going to the CE, especially when this respects it. Yeah, so just keep noticing these things, gaps, volume imbalances, order blocks, all that stuff. CEs are very important. Notice how it runs for a significant past target once it's done, right? Done with its move, got where it wanted to go, heads back to the CE here, takes it out, takes out these tops actually. I was looking at those tops, but I didn't think it would get there, so I targeted the CE on the play back up right here. I waited for this confirmation, the 1 minute gap. But anyway, droning on like always. Hope Hope you enjoyed the ES chart review. Tomorrow is Friday, so we'll do a live stream with some back testing, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think the back testing session last week was really, really helpful. Really helped me plan out longer scale moves and stuff like that. So yeah, I want to get into smaller time frames and try to like play out a day as well. I think that would be really cool. But make sure you subscribe if you're interested. I try to do these live streams once a week on Friday, and then I do the chart reviews every day during the week, and chart preps every now and then. Whenever I have time in the morning, I'll do a chart prep live stream or video. But thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed your day. Hope you made some money. Join the community if you're interested. And as always, there's a link in the description to ICT's channel. If you want to learn this theory, go do his mentorships. He's doing it live this year. This is like a once in a lifetime experience. Don't miss out. He is the master, right? I'm just trying to talk about my interpretation and my journey learning this. So hope you enjoy. Talk to you later. Bye.